Yahara minasan, this is Yuki, your realist Shinjuu Himidere elf, and today I'm going to share with you some of my wisdom and talk about anime that are related to Japanese culture. And when you think about Japanese culture as the weeb community, first thing that comes to our minds are anime and manga. But that's not all, of course. There are many aspects of Japanese culture that has been portrayed in various seasonal anime that I would love to talk about. Are going to revolve around working traditional in or what is called like a Japanese hotel style, Japanese literature, karuta, which is like a card game, koto, which is a traditional musical instrument, shamisen, another traditional musical instrument, kyudo, which is archery, like a form of Japanese traditional archery, shogi, which is a bit like Go game, but not exactly, slightly. It's sort of different, has different rules, different kinds of pieces. Kabuki, which is a form of opera, but not really. So it's like a Japanese traditional opera, if I may compare it to using Western terms. And Rakugo, which is a form of traditional Japanese theater style. And of course, there are definitely anime about making anime or making manga. So we're gonna explore that. Wagashi, which is traditional Japanese sweets, how they are made and people that work on that, what are they like. And finally, I'm going to tell you about an anime that focuses on Japanese calligraphy. So that's it. Let's start. So the first anime I would like to introduce to you today is Hanasaku Iroha. And Hanasaku Iroha was produced in 2011. It has 26 episodes, and it's speaking about our protagonist, Ohana Matsumae, who's an energetic and wild teenager residing in Tokyo with her carefree single mother. Abruptly, her mother decides to run away with her new boyfriend from debt collectors, forcing the young girl to defend for herself, as per her mother's motto, rely on yourself. Philosophy in rural Japan, where her cold grandmother runs a small inn. Driven to adapt to the tranquil lifestyle of the countryside, Ohana experiences and deals with the challenges of working as a maid, as well as meeting new people at her new school and the inn. So here I give you the setting, like the main summary, and now move on to why you should be watching this anime. So I think the most attractive part about this show is the personality of Ohana. She do her damnedest best to fit into her new surroundings, and her helpfulness is often seen as arrogant and condescending, but it takes a lot of determination for her to not get discouraged. It's here slightly bit of part of Japanese way of thinking. I think depending on where you come from, sometimes people see an offer for help as something that is greatly appreciated, but sometimes it seems like something imposing and it's like you are trying to intervene in somebody else's business. So it's a matter of perspective, matter of cultures, and also again, if you are living in the city, it's one thing. If you are living countryside, like a really reclusive area of the countryside, sometimes offering help is not really much appreciated without like being so close. Characters are developed with subtlety, their backgrounds not being revealed until the second half of the series, which makes you really curious. Everyone has their own time to shine. I especially love that the majority of the characters get their own little arcs and develop across the series. It's not like there is a major focus on just Ohana and her mother and grandmother and that's it, but every single person you meet in the series, basically they develop slightly bit throughout the series, or sometimes like they have their own little arcs where at first when you met them and later on after they got a contact and also affected by Ohana. Hanasaku Iroha was an endearing glimpse into the daily life between Tokyo and the countryside, and the storyline, like as many commentaries have said, is very engaging. This is what I think also. I hope that you give it a chance if you didn't. And as you can see from the poster, the animation is so beautiful, and although it has been made like 10-15 years ago, it's extremely beautiful even now. Moving on to Kawaii Complex, and Kawaii Complex is a story that has been produced in 2014. It has 12 episodes, and it's just speaking about Kazunari Usa, our main protagonist. He's a high schooler freshman who will start living alone due to his parents now working in different area. Various tenets of the Kawaii complex are all quite eccentric characters. They are really bizarre. Like you have from Shirosaki, who's a pervert and masochist. Yeah, there are literally characters like this in Japanese anime, so I hope this is not your first time encountering them. Mayumi Nishikino, who's a borderline alcoholic office lady who hates couples because of her unfortunate lack with men, and Sayaka Watanabe, who's a seemingly innocent college student, but on the side she enjoys leading men on, like giving them false hopes. And shocked with the lack of decent human beings at his residence, Kazunari is about to leave when he runs into his shy senior student, Ritsu Kawai, and finds himself slowly falling in love with her. So that was the point where he was like, maybe I should give this new residence a chance. The plot is completely character driven. You are not here for, what's gonna happen next, but more like how these characters are going to interact, and also who are these characters. This is what you want to learn the most. Who are they? Where they come from? And what are their aspirations? And how they are going to interact. The cast is pretty diverse in terms of not just personalities but also age representations, which is actually pretty rare for like high school based kind of stories, because often you find a lot of people who are in their like early teens or something like this. But then to have like various age groups in the same show, that's really good. Very well done and beautiful animation. You can clearly see that. If not, just put on the opening and you will be amazed. And the themes are about adaptability, because he's totally a familiar environment, he's out of his comfort zone, and he's meeting a lot of people, strange people from different backgrounds. Making the best of a situation and learning to love someone for who they are. I'd like to add a small note. So, after I watched Kawaii Complex, I felt like the anime was just taster for the story. It was not too much developed, like it's just the beginning, and I just dived immediately into the manga, like the manga after the anime. And honestly, the reason why I classify it as a literature anime, Japanese literature anime, is because in order for Usa to know better the character of Ritsu, he needs to start reading the books that she reads. And as you see from the opening, like her outfit changes every single time she holds a different book, because she really lives in this book. She have this immersive imagination of these plots and of the development in the manga, and I really love their conversations about those books. So I highly recommend it. I myself should go back and see how it ended, because it's been so many years ago and I should really see the end of it. But really there is so much to explore, and it's very relaxing. It's not very complex story fundamentally, but it's good for anybody who's like a book lover or love reading in general. One of the longest manga I have been reading in my life is Chihayafuru, and I started reading Chihayafuru right after the first season, so I didn't really wait for second and third season to come out. I just went ahead and read it, but of course when they came out I watched it. And so the reason why I got into the manga again, because how beautiful the animation and the drawing of the manga were, and the story itself, of course, and mainly because of the simple but elegant beauty of Chihaya Ayase and her personality and everything. So I'm not gonna spoil you further. I need to get into the summary of the story. Chihayafuru was released 2012. It has 25 episodes each season, so you have 3 seasons, a minimum of 75 episodes. And as a child, Chihaya Ayase, she had one dream, which is to see her older sister becomes Japan's most beautiful model. However, herself, she didn't have much of a goal at that point, until one day, her childhood best friend, Taichi Mashima, who was bullying an ostracized kid called Arata Wataya, she defends this Arata, and then she starts speaking to him. She starts becoming his friend, and she realizes he's into Karota, which is a form of competitive card game based on the Ogura 100 Poets Anthology. In this cards game, where poems are studied, they require excellent memory, they require agility, tremendous endurance from the players, like sitting on the tatami for several hours. It's not easy at all, either on your knees, on your legs, on your back, even your hands. It's like not really easy to keep that posture for a very long time, and also be like extremely focused to respond to the very first syllables of the poem being played. It's really amazing, like honestly. So, full of hope, Chihaya joins the Shiranami society together with the newly reconciled Arata and Taichi, like both of them. They decide to become friends because of her, embarking on new exciting journey for the title award of the top-ranked female player, Queen of Karuta. And Arata and Taichi would be aiming for the King of Karuta. Well, let's say it's more Arata rather than Taichi. Taichi wasn't so much into it in the beginning. He was just like, okay, I'm gonna do it because I don't wanna lose my best friend. However, in order to improve her skills, Chihaya decides to create a Karuta club in her high school, Mizusawa Karuta Club, to aim for the victory at the Omi Shrine's National Championship. The anime of Chihayafuru has a really leisurely pace and emphasizes on storyline, gives plenty of time for each character to develop into genuinely interesting and unique personalities. So it's not rushed. It's not like there is main focus on the one or two protagonists and the rest are decoration. No, that's not the case. It's very well done, and this is how I think about Chihayafuru. And I said earlier that one of the reasons why I fell in love with this anime is the personality of Chihaya, because she's pleasantly quirky and occasionally stubborn, and she's unapologetically nerdy, naive, and idealistic. Like, really, her level of being nerdy is something I look up to. I wish I could be so knowledgeable and so dedicated to the things that I'm doing, which I think I am to a certain extent, but not really, maybe not as much as her. So the animator did a great job at setting the mood of each episode while emphasizing the emotional and intellectual intensity that frames competitive Karuta matches. Takes time to explain the meanings and feelings behind some of the poem, which has like vibrant, beautiful stories and creates a form of cultural nostalgia. Now I would like to talk about Kono Oto Tomare, which is an anime that was released in 2019. It has 13 episodes and had 2 seasons. In an attempt to make up for his naivety and understand the words of his late grandfather, Shika tries to join the Tokisei High School Koto Club. Well, here just to pause, so koto is a musical and traditional musical instrument, and it is the one that you see in the picture here that the girl is using. Okay, so even though the club is in dire need of members, new club president Takezo Kurata is unwilling to easily accept Shika's application due to his bad reputation. Nonetheless, after seeing Shika's seriousness and enthusiasm, Takezo allows the problem child to join along with the koto prodigy Satowa Hozuki and 3 of Shika's energetic friends. So, because of his past with the violent incident and because he looks like a delinquent and because he himself is quite imposing, honestly, he literally was threatening Takezo to accept him in the club. So, because of all of that, when he joins the Koto Club, it doesn't necessarily that his past and social image and the people that he bullied or they bullied him or got him involved in violence disappear. They just don't. So you can expect him, like, while him himself was trying to build up his career with the Koto Club, he has to deal with his past and he has to deal with the people who want him to get involved again in violent incident. And I don't know if any of you noticed it already while watching Japanese anime, but apparently if you are part of a musical or sports club that they aim to participate in some important competition or to be part of a show in the school festival or anything important, they have to make sure that the members have a respectful reputation. I mean, they wouldn't really give them money if they cannot trust them and if they don't think their members are going to use it in the right way. So this is the background of that. So this anime is usually perfectly paced. It has also solid character chemistry. Personally, I felt like the story had more development in the second season, and I love their performances, so that's why I'm hoping they would give them third season. I don't know if any of you saw this moment, Facebook feed or whatever you are following the news about anime, but for me this moment was the breakthrough. It was when I decided to watch Mashiro no Oto. And because I mean, look at it, just look at it. Like, the woman there is so beautiful, and the shamisen. I was like, I wanna hear shamisen, and I want to see anime about shamisen, and I want to learn details about the shamisen. So we have Mashiro no Oto, an anime that was released 2021. It has 12 episodes, and it's revolving around Setsu Sawamura, who runs away from his small home village following the death of his grandfather, the legendary shamisen master Matsugoro Sawamura. Grieving, Setsu heads for Tokyo, hoping that the big city can inspire him to discover his distinct sound. After enrolling in Umizono Academy, he meets Shuri Maeda, a girl who's fascinated by the Tsugaru shamisen and wishes to perform a song her grandmother once heard a long time ago. Shuri starts up a shamisen appreciation club and convinces Setsu to teach the members how to play their instrument. As he becomes more involved with the club, will Setsu be able to recover his love for the shamisen and discover the unique sound he likes. Reason why you should be into this show are: first of all, the shamisen performances are so clearly outshine the rest of the show. Yeah. I mean, they are like a whole new other level. So the plot was incredibly realistic. There are no plot armors, there is no character that shouldn't fail, or that shouldn't lose the competition, or that should be always getting along with everyone because they are protagonists and that's how it works. No. Like, I really recommend it if you want to learn about shamisen, if you want to watch really beautiful performances. And I think the first opening was very much dope. Moving on to talking about Kyudo. Kyudo is a form of archery, like Japanese traditional archery. I think it actually has the same basics as archery in general, but I think also there is a small difference about like the form, how you should be standing, the emphasis on the focus, and many other things. I don't think they just do it for fun, they take it pretty seriously compared to, like when you are watching British kind of medieval movies and where these princes and those really rich aristocrats are playing archery. And this anime is called Tsurune, Kazemai High School Kyudo Club. It was released in 2019. It has 13 episodes, 2 seasons, and I think also 1 movie. I didn't watch the second season and the movie yet, but I'm hoping to do so pretty soon. Tsurune, it is the sound made by the bowstring when an arrow is released, and the sound that inspired Minato Narumiya to learn Kyudo, modern Japanese martial art focusing on archery. However, after a traumatic incident in middle school, he quit. But soon, many factors conspire to make Minato take up the bow once again. The start of a new Kyudo club in his high school, an encounter with a mysterious archer, and the support of his childhood friends, Minato rebuilds his love for Kyudo and works with his team toward winning the Perfectual tournament. So again, like we spoke last time about Karuta, Kyudo also has the same principle, where you could be competing on a personal level in order to earn a personal title, but also you could be competing like as a team in order to win titles on Perfectual or maybe national level later on. Anime tries to dive into the spiritual and deeper meaning of Kyudo, the mind and body connection, the traditional ceremonial cultural aspect of it. Like, they made it really look so awesome, really so mesmerizing. It has a bit of like Free vibes if you have watched Free back in the days. Free is a swimming anime and I'm gonna mention it in another video. If you love Free, you'll definitely love Tsurune. I'm sure about it. I don't think I need to mention the reason. Yes. So, have you ever heard about Sengatsu no Lion? Or Marsh Comes in like a Lion. It has been released in 2016. It has 2 seasons, each one is 22 episodes. Having reached professional status in middle school, Reiki Rayama is one of the few elites of the world of shogi. Due to this, he faces an enormous amount of pressure both from the shogi community and his adoptive family. Seeking independence from his tense home life, he moves into an apartment in Tokyo. As a 17-year-old living on his own, Rei tends to take poor care of himself, and his reclusive personality ostracises him from his peers in school and in the shogi hall. However, not long after his arrival in Tokyo, Rei meets Akari, Hinata, and Momo Kawamoto, a trio sister who live with their grandfather who owns a traditional wagashi shop. Akari, the oldest of the 3 girls, is determined to combat Rei's loneliness and poorly sustained lifestyle with motherly hospitality. The Kawamoto sisters, coping with the past tragedies, also share with Rei a unique familial bond that he lacked his whole life. As he struggles to maintain himself physically and mentally through his shogi career, Rei must learn how to interact with others and understand his own complex emotions. Just to explain here a little bit, shogi is a board game again, which is something between Go and chess, if I may say so, and probably slightly closer to chess in terms of strategies and thinking, but it's quite different. It's not the same. Core themes of this anime are anxiety, depression, and a sense of feeling lost. And it's usually a hard anime to suggest to somebody who's not thought for analytical, just to keep that in mind. The story is about finding a sense of belonging and forging one's path, and it also tells that everyone usually has some kind of trauma, and they deal with it differently. Either they subdue it beneath a happy facade, like they pretend like they're fine, they're always smiling, but they are deeply hurt or have really horrible memories somewhere, or they are very open and they speak about it and they try to face it in order to move forward. This is how I can introduce to you this anime. I don't want to spoil you further, but the 3 openings are such masterpiece. And also, it's not an anime where you are expecting some typical sports anime competitive spirit type, but what comes after winning? Or would you consider another career path? Do you keep on doing this for a living? Is it the right choice? There are many questions that comes in, and I think this is something that not only Rei encounters while playing shogi, but it's something that any person nowadays who embark on particular career path would encounter, and they would start thinking over. To be honest, I have never heard in detail about kabuki before watching Kabukibu. Like, I come across it while learning about the history of Japan, while watching some historical anime, while watching Gintama, in case you did. But what I'm saying is that I think Kabukibu is a very good introduction to what Japanese traditional theater is like. It's just a form of the theater. There are many other forms. I'm very not a professional. I cannot give you the full account of all these forms. I just know Kabuki and I know Rakugo. And I'm gonna speak about Rakugo later. So, Kabukibu is an anime that was released in 2017. It's about Kuroku, who had a love for Kabuki theater, a performance of art like opera, instilled in him from a young age thanks to his grandfather. Now, as a high school student, he desires to create his own Kabuki club in order to bring an appreciation of Kabuki to a wider audience. He will find, though, that with the weight of hundreds of years of strict traditions, it's not easy to get high schoolers interested. It feels like something that more older men would be interested in it, or older generations, and it's very hard usually to play Kabuki nowadays. Not because it has a lot of strict rules. It's not like playing, for example, some other form of expressive art or freestyle singing or anything. No, this has really strict rules, and if you don't follow them, then your performance is just pure shit and nobody wants to watch it. So it requires a lot of self-discipline, a lot of concentration, and also again dedication in order to learn further about the pieces you are performing and how to make a better show, how to create your own style while doing these shows. The main character has effervescence, and he has an optimistic personality, which actually pulls you in, makes you think like what he's gonna do next, to make things better for those around him and people he meets along the way. The story itself has a very uplifting mood. It's kind of fun. There is nothing depressing or sad about it, as far as I know. And it's fun and also culturally interesting, educational type of show. This is what I think about Kabuki. I'm sure that some of you, when they hear that I will be talking about Rakugo, they immediately thought about Shouwa, Genroku, Rakugo, Shinjuu. Which is exactly the case, because this is the most amazing Rakugo anime and probably the only one available so far. It was released in 2016. It has 13 episodes, 2 seasons, and also it had received an offer for a 3rd season. However, personally, I'm not sure what they're gonna put in 3rd season because honestly, the story feels complete in 2 seasons so far. And it's talking about Yotaro, a former Yakuza member, fresh out of the prison, and fixated on just one thing, which is rather than turning back to his life of crime, the young man aspires to take the stage of Rakugo, a traditional Japanese form of comedic storytelling, inspired during his incarceration by the performance of a distinguished practitioner, Yakumo Yurakute. He sets his mind on meeting this man who changed his life. After hearing Yotaro's desperate appeal for his mentorship, Yakumo is left with no choice but to accept his very first apprentice. As he eagerly begins his training, Yotaro meets Konatsu, an abrasive young woman who has been under Yakumo's care ever since her father passed away. Through her hidden passion, Yotaro is drawn to Sukeroko's unique style of Rakugo, despite learning under contrasting techniques. What me and other commentators have thought about the show is that there isn't a single wasted scene in this whole show. Each moment holds a unique purpose. The range of emotional situations these characters undergo, and the voice actors really nail the subtleties of their characters. The show isn't solely about Rakugo, it also comments on Japan's development during the post-World War II era, using the Rakugo as a point of entry to the discussion from societal and gender roles to propriety and the flow of time. It goes without saying that while talking about Japanese culture, I will go back again to talking about anime and manga production, and the anime I picked that talks about this topic is Bakuman. Well, there are a few others besides Bakuman, but I think Bakuman is the most famous because it's one of the longest anime talking about manga serialization and anime production from the very first steps until the end in a very detailed way. It has 3 seasons, each one of them is 25 episodes, and it was released at first in 2011. As a child, Moritaka Mashiro dreamt of becoming a mangaka, just like his childhood hero and uncle, Taro Kawaguchi, who's creator of popular gag manga. One day, his classmate Akito Takagi, the school's top student and aspiring writer, notices his detailed drawing notebook and approaches him to suggest that they become mangaka together. Moritaka realizes that if he is able to create a popular manga series, he may be able to get the girl he has a crush on, Miho Azuki, take part in the anime adaptation as a voice actor. Thus, the pair begins creating manga under the pen name Muto Ashirogi, hoping to become the greatest mangaka in Japan. I think the first season focused mostly on story drafting and also how to get to the part where your manga or your particular story gets screened and also get approved for serialization, and later on how to keep it going because it's not easy to keep a manga in the magazine that you applied for a really long time. Sometimes some series get dropped if they don't get enough support, and then how to get scouted for anime adaptation, and then if it gets anime adapted, then there are many other concerns that comes into the picture. I think that according to me and according to many commentaries, the sincerity of the main characters is what carries on the story. It's very straightforward, it avoids a lot of half-hearted cliche tropes, it's fun, engaging. There is a lot of comedy in this show, and also because I myself was curious about the details of manga and anime production beside watching them, and I thought Bakuman was a very educational show on that aspect. If you ever go to your local Asian shop, or you have traveled anywhere in Asia, or even you are just a Asia culture enthusiast, you must have already noticed that wagashi or traditional Japanese sweets have quite a delicate and special taste compared to other sweets from different countries. In the sense that they usually wouldn't be as much sugary. Of course, this is generalization, but when we're talking about traditional Japanese sweets, not the commercial ones, and you will find a lot of ounce with sweet beans, which I don't hate, but I'm not a big fan of. So, moving on to Deaimon. It's an anime that was released in 2022. It has 12 episodes. It's a seasonal anime, as you might have already guessed it. And upon hearing that his father has been hospitalized, Nagumo, the prodigal son of a family owning traditional sweet shop in Kyoto, returns to home after 10 years to take over the family business. So, Naguma is eager to do it, but instead he's asked to become the father figure for a small girl called Utsuka, who had worked in the shop while he was gone, and whom everyone now calls the successor or master. Starting on bad terms, Itsuka and Nagumo gradually learn about each other, connected by their mutual love for both the Ryokusho, which is the name of the shop, and its confectionaries. So, if you ever had the feeling of kids grow so quickly father vibes, you will love this anime. And I really love this comment that I found online. It's a really nice show to unwind with at the weekend. It's very calm, and again has a bit of sad vibes, if I say so, and it's really funny. And also there are other characters that will appear, like Nagumo's ex-girlfriend, or maybe people in the village who knew him before, and you realize how he's transforming from a really irresponsible young person to a person who is more mature and more caring about others other than just himself only. The last anime I would like to introduce to you today is Barakamon. And I have just finished Barakamon very recently. One of my friends had been suggesting it since like forever. And when I was doing research for this video, I was thinking like, yeah, I cannot really talk about Japanese culture without mentioning calligraphy. And it was like a short seasonal anime, so there was definitely no reason for me to keep stalling about watching it. Barakamon was released in 2014. It has 12 episodes. Seishu Handa is a young, talented, and narcissist calligrapher. When a veteran labels his award-winning piece as non-original and boring, Seishu quickly loses his temper and hates him. As a punishment and also in order to aid him in self-reflection, Seishu's father exiles him to the Goto Islands. Far from the comfortable Tokyo lifestyle, the temperamental artist is used to. Now thrown into a rural setting, Seishu must attempt to find a new inspiration and develop his own unique art style. But the islands are far from the peaceful countryside he signed up for, thanks to his wacky neighbors who are entirely incapable of minding their own business. The arrogant calligrapher learns so much more than he ever hoped for. Let's say anime is a coming of age story for 20-something people. Every episode has some life lesson in them, and it's often delivered in the most special way. For example, caring for others would be expressed in a scene where a guy tackling another to get some mochi would later give hot mochi food to those who didn't get any food before. It delivers the life lesson of the episodes, but also punctuates the attitudes of people in the laid-back rural area. There is togetherness, and people really do look out for one another. It's definitely one of those anime that would make you feel much better in a short while. So thank you. Bye bye.